Hi, this is Scott Lang. I am the Executive Director of the Ware Wildlife Center, and I am here with my wife, Nan Kemberling.
Hi, I'm an ambassador handler at Aware.
And we just wanted to share with you how we are running the ambassador handling program and a couple other things at the center during the time of the coronavirus.
So first things, we're based in the tool shed now where we've got all our stuff, and we get the food for the animals out of an outside refrigerator. So we're not going to come into contact with any of the people who are working inside. So that's good.
Yeah, normally Nan's day as an ambassador handler is Monday, and I guess it's still Monday. But she starts out, in the center, and she goes in and out of the center all day long, getting food and other things for the animals. But now you're just totally outside, right?
Yep, and so just mainly cleaning outdoor enclosures and checking on the animals there. So first thing we have to do when we walk into an enclosure is just make sure the animal's okay and take any pictures of any health concerns or anything. And then we have to just pick up pellets or any food that's left over and check the enclosure really thoroughly for holes or any kind of maintenance problems that we need to take care of. And then we start cleaning. And usually that involves a cleaner and a scrub brush, and we just have to make sure everything is really, really squeaky clean, including the rocks.
And so I know you have spot cleans and full cleans, right? And I see that this is Oscar the Grouch's enclosure we're looking at, or that you're working in.
Yeah, he's so amazing.
So is this a spot clean or a full clean?
This is a full clean, where I'm getting out the cleaner and the scrub brush and everything and making sure all the water pans are really, really clean, and rinsing them out and stuff before we put everything back.
Awesome.
As I said, the rocks as well. They tend to get green if you don't scrub them.
I know you always mist the birds too. Why do you do that?
Oh yeah, it's really important to mist them every day so that they preen themselves and can maintain their waterproofness.
Cool.
Then once everything is clean, I leave their food for the day.
Now that's always Oscar's favorite place to sit up there.
Mm-hmm. And he loves branches and having greenery around him, so I like to swap that out too. Give him some enrichment for the day. And then we have to make sure that the enclosure is nice and locked, just to make sure nobody can get in there.
And then which enclosure are you going into now?
This is Coco and Beaker's enclosure, the Redtailed Hawks. They have quite a big enclosure. So they're so beautiful. It's a lot to clean in there, but I love them so much. I love just hanging out with Coco and Beakers.
I know they are the largest hawks in Georgia. And is that Coco or Beakers we're looking at?
That's Coco.
And what was Coco's story? How did Coco come to be with us?
He had secondary rat poisoning. So somebody poisoned some rats, and I guess he maybe ate one, and it sort of incapacitated him for a little bit, enough so that a murder of crows could come and attack him and pull out all his primary flight feathers. So now they don't grow back very well, and he can't fly that well, so we have to have some branches in there where he can hop from branch to branch. Oh, and this is Boogie.
What species is Boogie?
He's a barn owl.
And what were you doing with his feet there?
Well, I just want him to be used to me touching his feet, so when we have to put equipment on for programs so he's comfortable with me touching his feet. So I try to touch his feet every time I see him.
Okay, and who are we on to seeing now?
Oh, this is Cleo, the striped skunk. She's a cutie. I have to do all the normal cleaning stuff, but I also check her for fleas and check her for any dandruff situation. So I have to pet her a little bit.
I know we're sort of fast forwarding and zooming through these, but about how much time are you spending in each one of these enclosures?
Oh, when it's a full clean, it could probably be 15 minutes. But when it's a spot clean, I can usually do it in 5. So now we're in Ellis and Cricket's enclosure, and they are eastern screech owls. And I just made a face looking at Ellis because he's molting, so he looks pretty funny. Got to check their nest box and then do all the stuff with their water pans and everything. They have their food put on a moat because sometimes ants and bugs will get on it if we don't put it in a moat. So that's why they have 2 water pans.
I remember the very first Aware event I ever went to, like 6 or 7 years ago. I guess it was the first event we went to. Mm-hmm. Leonard, who is our volunteer coordinator, was holding Ellis and Cricket on his handler glove, and we had these 2 tiny little screech owls looking like alien creatures. It was pretty cool.
And Delilah and Bugsy accidentally attacked me there. Oh yeah, and here's Alex doing something with some rehab animals, so we make sure that we stay 6 feet away from her at all times. And look, there's Baloo. She saw us from her cave and decided to come over.
She is a bobcat, and I know she was found in the wild by someone who decided to try to make her into a pet, which we strongly encourage people not to do, partly because it's illegal and partly because it means, they'll never be able to go back into the wild. And inevitably what happens is they grow up and they get to be too much for people to handle. So if you come across a bobcat, don't pet it. We're only doing that because
we're checking for mats
and because she's a permanent resident
and fleas.
But just like with other wildlife, try to just leave them alone, right?
Now we moved over to Savannah's enclosure, and you can see I have to do a little pooper scooping out of her water pond. They eliminate in water, which is really interesting. I've never known that cats do that. So then after I get done with the ambassador enclosures, I get to work with some of the rehab animals. And we make sure that I do this after I've done all the rehab animals, just so that if there's any diseases or anything that are communicable, I don't accidentally give them to the ambassadors.
And yeah, and we should say this was, I believe, the second week of intensive quarantine. And so you were the only volunteer at that time, and we were still figuring out how we were doing it. But now what we're doing is usually having one outdoor rehab volunteer in the morning while the staff works inside with the animals that are inside, and then sometimes a handler volunteer in the afternoon, so that the two, the rehab and the handler, never cross paths. So here you're kind of doing both jobs.
Yeah, and I think it's fine as long as I do the ambassadors first. And I've never gotten to really work with squirrels before, so this was kind of fun. I really love squirrels. They're so cute, and their antics, they're just funny. You have to check all their nest boxes, make sure everything's good in there, and feed them, clean everything.
Yeah, I think we had 4 different squirrels in there, run around the different quarters of the enclosure.
Yeah. One was really just so scrambly and funny.
I think these are a mix of, orphan squirrels that lost their parents and had to be raised, and also a couple that were injured, probably hit by car or caught by cat, which are the 2 most common ways.
So I also got to work with an opossum there, and there were some wild red-tailed hawks and vultures, my favorite. And then I wanted to save this little nugget for you for the end. This guy was so loud that I was caught by surprise.
Well, that's a taste of the day volunteering during COVID-19 at Aware. Thank you, everybody, for watching and for supporting our work. This is our baby season now in March and April, so we're doing our best to take care of as many animals as we can, and hopefully, as soon as conditions permit, be back to full capacity.
Thanks, everybody.